Hello, my friends. It's Andy over the Andy Falco Show, coming to you live from California. It is 6:30 on a Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday, isn't it? I've been traveling lately. I've been busy putting up a couple of new signs and some stuff, just trying to liven stuff up a little bit, trying to see where it fits in the framing and that kind of stuff. I know the printing is a little small, especially for those of you that are watching on your phone, but just trying to change things up a little bit. I'm getting ready to change my whole studio, just throwing some ideas up on the wall to see if it sticks. All right, so there's a lot to get to. I've not done a show on these topics in a while. I've been traveling. I went to Arizona, visited some friends of mine, stayed in a very nice B&B in Cave Creek. It was so awesome. Glad to be home, but it's 100 degrees here too, and it is hot. I think after this I'm gonna jump in the pool. But there's been so much going on. It's like, how do I focus on one thing? So I'm going to address a couple things. I'm going to address specifically why the title of this show, what I did, is because when you listen, and of course I only listen to snippets of the convention that's going on right now, the virtual Democratic convention, and you hear these people going off, and it really is. I'm running out of words to use of how dumbfounding and how perplexed I am with people that you seemingly live on the same planet with, have a completely different understanding and view, and a bearing on their common sense. Is that really a good? I don't think that's a good way of saying that. That maybe just simply they have common sense and don't have common. Like, I don't understand where it is they are coming from. And it's like the post I put up earlier today on my personal page, that you have a group of people, right? A group of people meeting outside to protest voting in person. So you have Democrats. Again, it always starts with Democrats, right? Whether it's BLM, Antifa, left, they're all the same. They're all in one box. They're all together because they all support each other, and one or the other pays for the other one. So don't give me this crap that BLM is not Democrats, that Antifa is not. They're all Democrats. That's the Democrat part of the world, Democrat part of the world, and then you have Americans, which are conservatives and Republicans. Those are Americans. And obviously the Democrats have decided to leave America because they want nothing to do but change our history. They want nothing but to take U.S. history out of the schools. We are nothing but racists, and we don't need police anymore. So we're going to get rid of police. We don't need peace, and we don't need law and order, which is part of being an American, right? So if you are, and you don't want our guns, and you don't like freedom of speech, you only want people to think like you think, that is no longer American. So if you think that I'm a horrible person because I'm putting all of you together, you all believe in the same thing. So don't give me any crap when I say this video of these Democrats beating up this woman, a transgender woman, and then the man coming to a rescue and then beating him up. It is Democrats that are doing it. So don't, I already had somebody punch back and say, "Oh, those aren't Democrats. Those are rioters." It's the same. You are the same, because you didn't hear it yesterday, right? I didn't watch the whole convention, so it's possible that at some point they denounced BLM, they denounced Antifa, right? If they don't like them, then they must have denounced them during the convention because they don't want them representing them. So obviously, what's her name? Obama's wife. Can't remember her name, but anyway. Shit, Mrs. Obama. Mrs. Obama spoke today, right? And she obviously how horrible Antifa BLM, right? She obviously said that, right? Or was it Bernie? Bernie obviously said Antifa and BLM are horrible, and they need to stop rioting in Seattle and Oregon, Minneapolis, New York, and they should stop vandalizing and looting, right? One of those people must have said that, right? They said that yesterday, because I didn't see it, but I'm guessing because they don't want to be associated with the Democrats don't want to be associated with them. Then they must have spoke out against defunding the cops and dismantling law enforcement, right? They said they don't want that yesterday, right? Somebody tell me, right? They must have said that because I'm hearing from occasionally, not very often, from saying, well, that's different. Those people are they're not different, because again, you know, I could be wrong. If they said that during the convention, then I will correct myself and say that, all right, then they are separate people. I don't believe they are. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I should actually show this first. I'm going to put this banner up. Oops, sorry, not banner. I'm going to put this up first. So warning, contents on this show will be graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. So I'm about to show you something that's very graphic. If you don't want to watch it, or if you have children in the room and you're watching this on a computer or on your phone, you may want to not have them watch this part. All right. So this was yesterday, the day before yesterday, and I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm going to show it just to make my point. So you have yesterday, what I did here is that how mean and how horrendous Donald Trump has been, that he causes divisiveness, that he somehow has caused divisiveness in our country. He's the one. It's not been the Antifa, BLM, Democrats, right? It's not been them. They're so nice. They have been just trying to bring this country together, and they just want us to love one another. And whether you're black or gay or transgender, we all just need to love one another, and that's all. That's how our life, right? That is the Democrats, right? That's what they're telling us, right? That's what they're all about, right? In the BLM and the Democrats and the liberals, right, and all this kind of stuff. So here you go. Here's some Democrats. Here's what they're showing. They're calling us divisive. So let's go ahead and play this. A little bit of video here. So that's a transgender woman getting attacked. She first got punched in the face with a car, then she got attacked and thrown on the ground. And I'm gonna fast forward to the part where the guy comes to her rescue. I'm not sure how they're related. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward because there's a bunch of this going on, and they're yelling and screaming and pulling people off and cussing and mother effing and that kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and fast forward a little bit.
We're trying to get this.
So the driver, the dude, he tried to drive off, but he crashed. And this is they're harassing him now, yelling at him. And this is the tolerant Democrats right there, punching him, throwing him down to the ground. They throw him back down on the ground again.
Right there.
There he's bloodied.
Right there.
So he's sitting down there, I think, more or less trying to show them that he's not trying to fight with him.
I'm sorry. She's trying to call me. She's trying to call me. Can I answer it?
They're still trying to punch him as he's on the ground. And then here comes the final coup de grace in just 1 second. And these are all fine Democrats. These are all they're not being divisive. Here he comes right here. Behind him, he's going to kick him right here. Kicks him in the head, and he's out. All right, they stand. Oops. They stand over him and yell and scream at him and call him a wussy and but use the P word and that kind of stuff. And I look at that, and then you look at the convention, and they continue, and they've done this his entire 3.5 years in his administration as president of the United States, and called him the divisive one, right? Yet they are the ones who spied on him. They're the ones who paid for a dossier that was written by a spy, not of this country, and they're the ones who associated with Russians. And I know you're going to bring up the fact that there was some investigation. The investigation was finished about the Russians influencing our election. That is totally legit. But it wasn't Donald Trump contacting the Russians, right? This was all, every country is trying to influence and Russian being one of them. And China now this year is all, if they didn't do the last election, they're doing it this election. They're constantly doing it, right? We constantly have to be combating this. But what they were trying to say is that part of his administration had been spying, and yet they made everything up, right? But yet he's the divisive one. They've been trying to impeach him his entire career, yet he's the divisive one. And so I just laugh, and you got to laugh, and you say at some point, at one point, as a Democrat, that you sit there, and again, I have friends that are Democrats, and I seemingly think that they have some intelligence. At some point, they got to sit there, and I don't know what they show on the news that they're watching. I don't watch any other news other than what I research on the internet. Of course, I watch Fox, and I don't agree with everything that Fox says. I don't agree with every one of their commentators. I don't agree with everybody, right? I don't agree with a lot of Republicans. The one thing I like about Donald Trump is he's not necessarily a Republican all the time. He's definitely not a liberal, that's for sure. But he may do some things that are liberal-ish on occasion with crime reform, right? He did some really liberal type of things in that area. And it was a beneficial thing to the Black community. Yet they don't want to give him credit for that either, right? And I don't agree with all that stuff, right? But he did that thing. Sorry, I got a really itchy nose. Sorry about that. It was going to make me sneeze. I didn't want you to think I had corona. And yet you see the Russian, the Ukraine, the constantly, like, whatever he says, if he says the sky is blue, that they say it great. It's great. Seeing what they're doing in these communities, that they're all Democratic-run communities that are being just overrun by these Democrats that are protesting and looting and catching buildings on fire. And then you have the liberal Democratic media who stands there in front of a burning building and says, hey, it's peaceful. It's not that big of a deal. It's actually really nice here. It's the summer of love. And they got buildings burning out in the background. And then they start a convention. And I just laugh. It is one of the most entertaining thing to watch lunatics. Barack's wife, and I can't remember her name. Somebody has to tell me her name. Somebody write a comment what her name is. And to watch Bernie Sanders, like, they hated this guy, right? When he was running against Hillary, they did not like him, but now somehow they love him. And now he's, their primary guy. He's the one who's going to be running Biden's campaign and his presidency if he were to win. So anyway, hi to Amy Feltz. K9 Up says, why don't the people being attacked carry weapons and use them in those situations? I know. Sometimes I think maybe I'll drive through Portland and see what happens. The problem is that even when you're right, you'll be arrested and prosecuted in these Democrat-run cities, right? If the bad guys are set free. The bad guys are not arrested at all, and if they are, then they're released right away. But it's the good guys who protect Michelle. Thank God. I couldn't remember her name. So you got Michelle Obama coming on there and just saying how horrible the Republicans are and Trump is, and yet this is what we're seeing on a daily basis. Like, maybe they are just not seeing the news. Maybe it is that they think that everything is still correct and true in relationship to the Russian collusion hoax, that it was not a lie, that the FBI did not make stuff up, that they did not lie on the email. The attorney who just decided that he was going to plead guilty to lying on an email, on an affidavit that showed that the email said that Carter Page was in fact working for the was it DOJ or the CIA? I think it was the CIA. And he was in fact working with them, as opposed to what he altered and said that he was not working with them and was a Russian spy. But that none of that happened, right? Maybe it's possible. Maybe if you live in that world, which is a very strange world to live in, where there's no common sense and no facts and no life, that you believe all these things that you believe, right? And that there's somehow I'm just like, this is crazy. And that you can see this. Now watch. I'm going to show you this really quick. And I just want to show you this because I want to show you the difference between what would look like, and this isn't even a Trump rally. It actually is a Patriots rally, or I think we were supporting law enforcement on this rally. And let me show you what this looks like when you are a conservative Republican at any gathering where you're showing support for the United States and essentially protesting everything that you're hearing bad about America, right? So when we're protesting about what's happening in our country, this is what we look like. Let me just show you this video really quick. And then not only that, we're singing, right? We sing the Star Spangled Banner. We recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and we use the word God in there. And we wave. And then whenever somebody from BLM or Antifa, any one of the Democrats come over from their side, we say, hi, come on over, join us. You want a water? We invite them over, and we have a really good time. But that's what it looks like. Now, let me show you what it looks like to be at a Democrat-run event. And it will look something like this, and I've witnessed it myself, because sometimes they come onto our time. This is what it looks like.
Fuck you, brown boy! Run back to your fucking pigs! Guys,
So that's one example. I did a search, and I couldn't hardly decide which one I wanted to pick, like, because it was all of them were exactly what you don't want to belong to. So I'm just wondering, like, if, again, as a Democrat, and I'm asking you, those of you that are watching that are not commenting and not saying anything, because sometimes you will, but you're telling me that it looks more attractive to be a part of the Democrat-run rallies in Portland, Seattle, where you're catching buildings on fire, throwing Molotov cocktails and explosives, and getting shot, by cops with pepper balls. That looks like way more of a fun life in the way that you want to teach your children to live in the United States of America, as opposed to I just want to make sure and get this right. I don't know if I'm living in some weird world, and I just find it really odd. And again, I purposely named this, because it is true. Like, you can't make this stuff up, right? Either the media is not showing Democrats what it means and looks like to be a Democrat in today's world. Because I remember back in the day, I think I had some family members who are Democrats, and it didn't look like that. It looked a hell of a lot different. But that's what it looks like now. This is where we're at. If you don't think that you are going far left, that you think with Bernie being a part of your party now, with AOC being a part of your party, with Elon Mohan, whatever her name is, with the thing she wears on her head, and hates America and wants to dismantle America. Even though when she put her hand on, I don't know what she put her hand on, but she put her hand on something, I'm sure, I don't know what it was, and pledged that, that she would protect the Constitution of the United States, that now she wants to dismantle, right? She pledged as a senator or congresswoman, whatever she is, that she would uphold the laws of this country, just like I did as a police officer. I pledged to uphold the laws of not only California, not only my city, but of the entire United States. That then I pledge that, and then I come in and say, all the laws suck. I'm not going to put. Like, wait a minute. No. You pledged, but you have senators and Congress people who come in and do nothing but fight against the Constitution, do nothing but argue that it's okay that we're causing buildings to fall under after catching them on fire, pulling down statues of our U.S. history, regardless if it's Columbus or a missionary, or a statue of Jesus Christ, or George Washington, who was a leading founder of our country. So regardless of that, that's okay. But you don't want to be a part of this country. You don't want to be a part of it, but you ran to be a politician, and you won, and now you want nothing more than to destroy the country that you somehow are also supposed to be representing. It is one of the really oh, thanks. It really is a very bizarre world. Like I don't understand. I don't mean to keep laughing, and I apologize, but somebody needs to help me understand this, because that's one of the things that's keeping it making it so difficult to now kind of start a show on Focus, because there's so many oxymorons and so many contradictions to the statements they're making at this convention. I mean, just yesterday, right? Or on the news or whenever they talk about, Donald Trump is so divisive and he's created such a horrible world. This horrible is being created by you and the Democratic Party. Everywhere I look, destruction, dismantling, defunding, what are some of the other stuff? Pulling down statues, ending the U.S. history in our schools. Everything has to do with like, oh, we're horrible people. Is it really the Republicans? And you're gonna sit there and you're gonna say that Donald Trump and the Republicans are racist, horrible people, and yet you Democrats are the ones who are actually destroying our country at this moment. And and I'm not just saying it because I'm a concern. Literally, I'm telling you, you can see buildings being burnt down. You can see statues being pulled down. You have Democrats coming on the news and saying, I want to end U.S. history being taught in our schools. It is happening. And they want to dismantle. Whether you think that Biden said or not, when you divert money from the police department, if I diverted money from your paycheck, it would be the same as defunding your paycheck. Because either way, you are not getting money on your paycheck. So you can say that, oh, Biden didn't say he was going to, he said divert. That also means defund. Don't give me that BS. You are freaking nuts if you don't believe. And if you don't believe AOC and Bernie and Kamala are going to be running this country when he becomes president, you are a lunatic on top of everything else. How can you watch Biden? If you have common sense, how can you watch Biden at any time talk? He just didn't realize. I just saw something just recently. I don't know if it was yesterday or today that he did an interview. Sorry, my nose has this really bad itch. That he could not even remember what year he was vice president. He first said 2018, I think it was, and then he said 2012. I think it was like 2008, right? I don't remember when he became vice president. I could be wrong, but he could not even remember the year. Okay, so you cannot watch at any point Joe Biden talk and not realize that he's losing his mental functions. His mental faculty is not facultying. It is about gone, kind of like mine, right? He's losing it. And notice his hand. I want to know what that means when he's walking with his hands like a robot. Watch him when he walks. He walks with his hands like he's a robot. What is that? Somebody must know. There's got to be something that has to do with mental cognitivity. That your hands, they're almost like sewn together. And he walks like this when he walks. Watch him when he walks. It's very interesting. I can't stop watching it. I'm trying to figure out what that means, and I keep meaning to look it up on the internet, and I don't see it. But he is gone. He's done. There's no way he's going to make 4 years in his first. There is no way. His decline has been so strong that we've been able to see it from the time that he was in the debates as a nominee or as a running, somebody running for the position and going through all the things. You could see the decline happening. So we're watching the decline in real time, and in 2 years from now, it's going to be completely gone, and Kamala is going to be president of the United States. So if you truly want a lunatic like Kamala Harris as your president, then vote for Biden, because she will become the president of the United States. There's no doubt in my mind. There's nothing that is going to change my mind that she will be president of the United States when he's gone. And this isn't. I heard somebody get a hold of on Twitter. They were talking about Judge Jeanine saying that he's not going to make it, and this, oh, that's a threat. She's gonna get him, have him assassinated. Like, what? What are you talking about? Who doesn't know that he's not going to make it for the 4 years? It's totally ridiculous. One last thing I want to talk about. I want to look at some of these comments in 1 second, but one last thing is that this is how you know. Like, it's like the ridiculousness of people saying, well, you know, they were just kind of doing their thing with the FBI and nobody was really paying attention. Are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me that you're saying that they're investigating the incoming president and they're just kind of like, well, you know, they're just busy doing a bunch of other things. Like there was other stuff going on that was more important than spying on the incoming president of the United States. You're trying to tell me that nobody bothered to tell the president, Obama at the time, or Vice President Biden, or the Secretary of State, or the Attorney General, or anybody, right? That the FBI thought that somehow the incoming president might be a spy for Russia. Like, yeah, but I'm not going to bother you with the information. You really think that was happening? Everybody knew. Don't be stupid. Everybody knew what was going on, and it was all going on. All right. So with that in mind, as we come now into this convention yesterday, this all ties together, I promise you, is that you have Michelle Obama. Thank you, Jim, for reminding me. Michelle Obama giving a speech, right, about the ticket, right? The ticket that's coming in. This is the Democratic National Convention where they're talking about the ticket that they're going to nominate, which is what? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, right? That's the ticket. And she comes on and she gives her speech and she says nothing about Kamala Harris. Now, remember, just 3 days ago, this was the most historic thing that was possibly happening. Not Israel and the Emirates, Arab Emirates, signing an agreement to get along. That who cares? Who cares about peace in the Middle East? That's not that big of a deal. But Biden selecting Kamala Harris, this was historic. This was amazing. This was spectacular. Who cares that Kamala didn't make it past the first round of the thing? And everybody hated her. And I think she even hates herself. Who cares about that? All right. So this was historic. This thing, according to news media, right? And according to Biden, and according to, this was one of the most historic things ever, right? And that yet you have Michelle Obama who gets on and gives a speech and says nothing about Kamala Harris. Wait a minute. I thought this was like the most historic, and she's a black woman, Michelle, right? She's still black, right? She said nothing about Kamala Harris. And they go, are they really serious? Well, it was recorded. She recorded it before. Even worse. Like you're using that as an excuse that it was pre-recorded 3 days or 4 days, 3 or 4 days prior. That's your excuse that she didn't mention Kamala? That's the thing you're saying? You're hanging your head on that, well, it was because it was recorded. But I thought you said Kamala Harris being named vice president to Joe Biden was historic. That it was one of the most important things that has happened in our lifetime. That this was amazing. It's so amazing that Michelle Obama in 3 days couldn't find time to reshoot, even put in a new portion where they cut, right? She wears the same thing and now they can cut from a different angle. You know how they cut from angle to angle? Probably because she made a mistake and they needed to now show different angles so that now she can continue talking as if it was part of the same speech. That's why they cut angles sometimes, is so that they can cut in because she messed up on something and didn't say a word correctly. You know they do that, right? I do it all the time on edited video that I create. And if you see an angle change or me move in, it's probably because I need to cover up something that I didn't say correctly and I stumbled on a word or something like that. So she could have put on the same clothes at any time during those 4 days and says, oh, man, I am so happy to hear that Kamala Harris is the vice president, the selection for vice president for Joe Biden. Like at no time in the 40, this historic moment. And this has to show you how nobody cares, how nobody's excited about Biden, how nobody's like, they're like, some of the people I think are throwing in the towel. It's just, it's a little whacked, right? It's a little whacked that they're taking this so unseriously that they'll sit there and lie through so many different things about how the president has done nothing for the COVID-19. He's done nothing but golf, right? I think Bernie said that. He's been golfing. He's done nothing for what? But the travel bans, getting corporate America to change their, their manufacturing, what they're manufacturing from cars or planes or trains or parachutes, whatever, to make in PPE and other things that needed to be done. Respirators, right? We're now furnishing respirators to the world. That president, the president who also took two medical ships and put them on the East Coast and the West Coast, which they chose not to use, which Cuomo, who gets on and says, well, it's the president's fault that I killed tens of thousands of people. It's his fault that I put people in I put infected people into the nursing homes. It's president's fault. And then I didn't use the hospitals that he sent to the East Coast. I didn't even use it. And I didn't use any of the ventilators. I didn't use more ventilators than what I need. What the hell? I mean, I could go on. There's just so many things. And so this is the craziest world that I'm currently living in. I don't get it. And it's really hard to focus because I want to just sit here and go, sometimes I think I want to talk about this stuff, but it just seems like it's kind of ridiculous. Like, it's really kind of ridiculous for me to get on and show you a video of Democrats beating up a transgender woman, and then they beat and kick the guy in the head who's protecting her. Yet they're the ones who are all crazy about saying that they care about transgender and about people who care about transgender. Yet they beat her up and then they kick the guy who protected her in the head. Like, what? And then you got Democrats that are going, well, President Trump is divisive. Yet they're the ones looting buildings and catching them on fire, and have 70, almost 80 days of protesting in Portland, and literally destroyed the city of Portland, literally destroyed the city of Seattle. They've dismantled and defunded the police to where the police are leaving Seattle, and they're leaving virtually unprotected from criminal elements. Yet it is Trump who is causing the divisiveness. What are you, crazy? You guys have really lost your freaking mind, right? You guys have really lost your mind, because this is really just something else. All right, let me go to some of these comments. I got to catch up what's going on. All right, let's see. Carol says, whenever their lips move, they are describing it. Exactly. It is so funny that as soon as they say something like, divisiveness, they've spent maybe a couple days of divisiveness somewhere in the country, right? And they want to use that more when it's clear that Democrats are divisive, or if they're spying, or if they're talking about, the Democrats were the ones that were talking about mail-in voting was bad 10 years ago, but suddenly now because Donald Trump said that we can't do that right now. We can't have millions of ballots being mailed in all at once when it just can't happen. We just could see in New York where this happened and it failed. And this is a small area, right? If it fails in a small area, what do you think is going to happen across the United States of America with millions and millions of votes just being sent out there? Let's just hope somebody will find them and fill them out and turn them back in. And yet there's 10 going to one household, to the dog and the cat and the fish and the birds and the children who aren't old enough to vote. And the person who's inside, whether the Republican, it doesn't matter, right? If they're Republican, Democrat, or independent, or green, whatever, fill them all out accordingly and then send them all in. That doesn't sound wrong to you? And if you don't know the difference between mail-in ballots and absentee ballots, then I can't help you, because you're an idiot. All right. Let's see what here. Dems claim looting and burning buildings is justified because it's reparations. The owners have. Yeah. That's the other thing. I just heard on Martha McCollum's show, the leader of BLM was on there and wouldn't even let her talk. He just went on and on and on. What an idiot. He's a moron too. All right. Losing, it's gone. He is like my stepdad after too many strokes. Oh my gosh. After, or if he wins, Harris will be. Yes, for sure. That is for sure. Hollywood theater, not a convention from a delegate. Yeah. Let's see what Twitch has to say. Representing. All right, representing. What are you representing? Speaking up for the LGBT community. Nice. Well, then you should not be going Democrat. You need to go Republican, because I know. But I just saw an LGBTQ woman get beat up by a Democrat. He's not. He sure is. Well, unless you don't live in the United States. If you don't live in the United States, then you're right. But if you live in the United States, he definitely is your president. There's nothing you can do about that. This is not the CBD channel. Well, I talked about CBD earlier today. This is why I take CBD, is to put up with stuff like this. All right. Well, the roll call vote for Biden is on. Minimal support. Oh, sorry, I should be watching. What the F is this? It is Biggie Cheese. F8. It is a show. Ironic how Trump has a mail order bride yet wants to ban the postal service. Okay, that's pretty good. I know. You would think that he would love the postal service. He does love the postal service. As a matter of fact, he put a guy in there to fix the postal service. And of course, now that they're trying to fix it, the Democrats say, what do you mean he's trying to fix it? This is horrible. It needs to be as bad as it was before. And that is really cool, though. But yes, and she is amazing. If I could get a mail order bride that looks like Mrs. Trump, then I'm mailing. I'm sending my letter in today. And then, I'm not sure what that is about, but whatever. All right, my friends. So there it is. It just doesn't make any sense. If somebody can make sense of this, if you're watching the replay, just let me know. I don't think we can. We have here's what it looks like again. I'm going to show you. This is what it looks like to be an American. Everybody's attractive, everybody's having fun, everybody's laughing, everybody's enjoying themselves. Or you can go, and I don't have the video up anymore, or you can go to the Democrat side of the world, and I'm a victim. Everything is horrible. I need reparations. I need free stuff. I need free food. I need you to do stuff for me because I'm not willing to work. I need you to pay me $600 a week because I simply don't want to go back to work. I don't want to pay for my schooling that I went all those years for school. Now that I've gone and I failed, I want you to pay for it. I want to throw urine on you and fecal matter, and I hate your guts, and you're a racist, and you hate all gay people, and you are horrible. You're a horrible person. You need to give me everything that's in your home because I am a lazy ass and I cannot think for myself or work for myself. So you could live like that or be an American and not live like that. Whatever. We don't call 911. Oh no, grandma fell down the stairs. Tommy, get the shotgun. I don't know. That's what you get that's what you get. All right, my friends. I love you guys. I love you all. And thank you for sticking around, and make sure and subscribe and share and like and do all the fun stuff, because that's what will help, and visit some of my sponsors. That would be fantastic. All right, my friends. All right. I love you. Take care. Bye.